All good NASCAR seasons all have a tendency to start in one place. It is a track that needs no introduction. It is dubbed the World Center of Racing. On the coast of Daytona Beach in Florida, this is the Daytona International Speedway. Good afternoon, race fans, and welcome to Green Flag TV. My name is Ola Rempel alongside Derek Watson. We are bringing you all the coverage for the season opener of the SRA NasClassic Arca Blitz. Derek, it's Daytona, it's Arca cars. What more is there to say? It's going to be a good ride.
You're right, there's really not. That's probably the most accurate thing to say after all this time of broadcasting, viewing, spectating, or driving with an iRacing. There's not a new thing I can teach about this track. There's no cool fact, there's no special mascot, there's no hidden trick, no strategy. It's just come out here and be patient. And hopefully you can add your name to the list of successful Daytona winners when this thing is over.
It is an absolutely perfect day out on the Speedway. Right now, looking at 77 degrees Fahrenheit in the air, 93 on the track, and with only a few light clouds in the skies, could not picture a more perfect day for racing action here this afternoon. The schedule for the season looks something like this. We start today at Daytona. We keep the speeds up. We will swing to Auto Club and Las Vegas Motor Speedway, often regarded as one of the fastest mile and a halves on the market. The speeds remain high as we go to the Atlanta Motor Speedway before we finally slow it down for twin short tracks, one on the asphalt at Bristol, one on the dirt over in Lakeland, Florida at the USA International Speedway. Then it's Texas and Phoenix. The second Super Speedway race comes from Talladega on June 21st. From there, it's the lone road course race of the season at Watkins Glen. Darlington, Charlotte, Dover, and Michigan will close out the season. So 14 perfect race weeks getting set to kick off. It was due to be a Daytona doubleheader. They opted for a single header after the race last week got postponed. Today, over 20 cars set to roll on out. That schedule sounds frankly awesome to me, Derek, and I'm looking forward to every week of it.
Awesome, maybe terrifying. Yeah, it can be terrifying for some drivers, though. Think about that. I mean, think about the things you named there. A dirt race, USA International, a road course race, super speedways, mile and a half, short courses. It's all there. This is a schedule where you're going to have to be the best driver. Not the best super speedway driver, not the best short course driver, just the best driver. It's going to challenge you in ways maybe you're not comfortable with. So, fun as a spectator, but possibly terrifying as a driver.
And all of this will take us around to the main show this afternoon. It is, again, it's one of those races you can kind of feel that tension starting to build, right? You can kind of feel everybody's kind of got their hopes up. Everybody's looking set to see what we're going to be in store for here this afternoon. It's a huge day, I think, for everybody involved. And I think for the most part, everybody is extremely excited to get this race underway. No more so, Aaron Raymond started this race from pole position this afternoon. He is looking set to try and see if he can maybe put himself back on point after he got dethroned from his three-time straight championship role when he found himself out for the IL Truck Series just a few weeks ago.
Yeah, so definitely, obviously being the start of a season, the beautiful thing about the points here is it's brand new, right? Everyone here has a fair shot, and how ironic, how fitting, how whatever it is you want to say it is, that we're here at Daytona. I say everyone has a shot because literally the reason people love Daytona, the reason we love super speedways is everyone thinks they have a shot at victory lane.
People tend to call this type of race a bit of a crapshoot, right? I disagree.
I hate that.
I hate that as well, right? I mean, is it perhaps a bit more seemingly random than most races? Absolutely, especially if the race goes into overtime. But you still need skill to be up there at the top end of the race, right? I mean, you can't just have, you can't just do whatever you want all the time. You got to really be on point if you want to be up there at the end. It's just a different style of racing.
Yeah, it's funny. Evan Pasoko and I had a conversation about this during our premier sim racing, Sim Gaming Expo Truck Series a few weeks ago here on Green Flag TV. I think what people perceive to be luck and randomness at a super speedway is more parity, right? That draft brings parity. All of a sudden, it's not about who has the best setup in a car. If this was an open setup race, it's not about who, has the best cornering ability. That parity is what the draft brings you. But there's a lot of skill involved in working that draft. There's a lot of skill involved in decision making. There's a lot of skill involved in making the draft work correctly. And all those things. Communication, by the way, Oh my gosh, how important is communication at a super speed? It's massively important here. So I love this here. And by the way, that's a beautiful production shot right there. Just watching down from Barney the Flagman, just kind of seeing him patiently work there. But yeah, I do. I hate when we call this stuff random, just because I think that it's I think it's wrong. I think that's a cheap way out of explaining why someone's not good at drafting.
I agree, right? And drafting can be oh so important, and well, we'll be able to find out just how important in a little while. For now, the starting grid coming at you here in just a moment here on Greenfly TV, as we'll get set to roll on out from Daytona to the National Speedway. Not Mark Arthur, that is the qualifying results, the practice results, and here we go. It is Jim Duda starting his race from the pole alongside Zane Bailey. 0.005 of a second separate them in qualifying up on the front row. Back on row number 2, it is going to be Zachary Mertz down in third alongside Gavin Austin out of the Western States. Moving on back to row number 3, it is Jared Duda alongside IL owner Thomas Lane Jr. Row 4, going to be holding the likes here of Aaron Raymond and Paul Witt. Paul Witt looking to keep up his Daytona streak this afternoon to the Arca Blitz. And closing out the top 10, it'll be Florida native Dalton Kilroe running in his home track this afternoon. He starts alongside Ryan Wayne.
Going to move back here, starting with P11 with this brand new grid graphic here. Corey Baudois is going to be there in 11th with Bruce Dudley back in at P12. No relation to the Dudleys of WWE Hall of Fame nature, I don't believe. We'll move back here into P13 in just a moment when our graphic decides to cooperate. I'll do it from iRacing here. 1 second. That's going to be Lieben Van Leer in P13 with Pat Green in P14. Aaron May is in P15 outside of Cliff Adams, Total Motorsports, back in 16th. 17th is Malone. Does Malone have a name? Malone's P17. Yeah, that's Brett Malone. Joshua Buck. So apparently we'll see what's going on there. Joshua Burke, pardon me. That bright green and purple machine. And the 19th and 20th, Cody Witt and Jim Colemanberger back here in P20.
Moving on back to 21st, it's going to be Xavier Dawkins-Batiste alongside Jeff Gilmore. From there, it is Noah Swafford and Mark Arthur to bring it up in 24th. And continuing on down to the field, drivers that did not put down times, Brian Zimmerman along with Wesley Strayed making his first start in IL competition. Tanner Marr and Anthony Williams will be back on row number 14, and row 15 brings up John Holliday and Larry Bell. That closes out your 30-car grid this afternoon. The field paces down the Daytona Superstretch.
Well, as a driver right now, you see from this camera shot, the pace lap has begun. We're about 1.5 way down the pace lap. The nerves have set in. A little bit of anxiety has set in. Last-minute communications amongst the drivers. Last-minute reminders about, hey, drive safe. That's what we all say in lap 1, right? Hey, drive safe. No need to wreck in lap 1. All those conversations you're having, last-minute confirmations with race control about maybe rules to start a season are important. But here we are, maybe about less than a mile away from starting a new season.
Once again, we are thrilled that you are joining us for more racing action here on a fantastic Saturday night. The iRacing pace car going to make its dive down and into pit road. It's time to get the party started. It's go, go, go for a new season in Florida. But boy, it did not take this field long to try and put it 3 wide. Going to quickly get a double back out as we hightail it off of turn 4 down the front straightaway. And leading lap number 1 of the stripe, it's going to be Zane Bailey. No, it'll be Jim Duda from the bottom side.
Well, that car you saw 3 wide, by the way, that was Dalton Kilroe. Decided he wanted to back it out here. Waiting to get confirmation of why, if he just wasn't comfortable where he was or something happened, but That was, yeah, Dalton Kilroe, who you saw up top, and now they're back to 2 wide as Kilroe's back in line here, just behind the first pack. But here we are side by side down the straightaway. Everyone's getting comfortable and still a little antsy.
One driver did not make the start. That was Anthony Williams. You see him now very, very bottom of the field. So unfortunate news for Anthony Williams, as he is going to be having to fight his way back a long way, needing an early caution here if he wants to avoid going a lap down.
Yeah, he'll get about 12 laps. That's about the estimate of what you can do by yourself around Daytona. Maybe less than that, depending on how good the draft gets organized. But 12 laps is about the maximum he's going to get in without a caution before he gets lapped and swallowed up by this field. All right, well, right now, of course, the person in the best seat in the house is Jim Duda. That's the car on the inside. Zane Bailey's on the outside, and the car's already wiggled and decided to drop out of line here. That's the 99. Man, he's got to either get back in line or slow down here, or he's going to have an unfortunate corner here.
Zachary Mertz, 99 on the car, scored as the 96 this afternoon for the Kellogg's Cheez-Its machine, as he's going to drop all the way back right into the clutches of the 78 of Cliff Adams and the 24 of Joshua Burke. That outside lane started to fracture quite heavily here, isn't it, Derek? I mean, there's a lot of momentum down to the bottom side. Only 5 cars right now working that high lane, and everyone else is kind of just biding their time deeper in the field.
You know, we talked about, there's a couple more cars moving up, but we talked about that thing we hated, about how people say that, oh, it's just luck, it's just random, it's just this. I mean, Bo and I both kind of hate that. The other thing I kind of despise about super speedway driving is that everyone thinks the outside lane doesn't work. It works. It requires patience. It requires finesse. It requires drivers who are willing to push, not just physically with the car, but by using those air bubbles. If you're not patient, that outside lane will not work. But watch here from onboard with Ryan Wayne, from about 185 miles an hour out of the corner, and get about 100, maybe 190 here down the straights. But that outside lane can work if you're patient, but if you just don't have any patience, it's easier to jump back in a bigger lane and just go that way. Oh, look at that. There's a big movement outside as Zane Bailey's going to get swallowed up by the high lane.
Saw as well how much was fed to the throttle, right? Getting in and out of it to try and just keep pace with the cars up front. Gavin Austin, by the way, going to clear for the lead in the number 62. So Austin will take to the point, although he is quickly going to be overtaken. Look at the super speedway ringer. It's Paul Witt looking to drive back around the high side. Paul Witt's got a streak to keep alive at Daytona.
Paul Witt's got this streaks of success as in general keep alive. Right? I remember at one point last season in SRA had that incredible streak of not being coming outside the top 5 finishes and having a good run, but he's about to lead a lap here at Daytona and put his name on the list of drivers who have done so. So there you go, that's top lanes. But look at that bottom lane, though. That bottom lane's having a lot of problems. You have to stay in line. I don't care if you're top lane, bottom lane, middle lane, whatever lane you want to be. If you want to fracture your line, if you want to be off center and not drafting, it's going to fall apart quickly.
So still 2 lines each, and quite a few cars started to jump down towards the inside of the racetrack. Gavin Austin again back to the point. So it's musical chairs at the head of the field, and not only we got one car caught in the sucker hole. We indeed did not. Thomas Lane Jr., meanwhile, in the 38 machine, starting to make moves up towards the head of the field. So good spots gained for him. Right now, Aaron May, though, with the most. He is up 7 on the day.
There you go. You see all your biggest gainers on the bottom right of the screen. So now I think it's time to talk about different strategies of this. Look at this. You see this front pack. They've decided they want to be full throttle. They want to race high adrenaline, high risk, high reward styles of racing. But if we move back, maybe find like a Dalton Kilroe towards the back of that line on the bottom, he's deciding, listen, I'm okay riding. I think I know how super speedways go. It's likely we might see a caution, we might see a wreck. Let me sit back here. Let me get comfortable, and if something happens, I should be able to avoid it, right? So Dalton here in his SRA debut, not in any way a stranger to the Arca cars, by the way. Dalton's becoming a green flag TV regular, as now he races Saturday nights in SRA, races Sunday nights in Blazing Pedals, and of course will be advents on Mondays for the High Tide Racing League. All races you can see here on Green Flag TV.
You know, it's one thing to race in multiple leagues, right? It's another to race in 3 leagues back to back to back, different nights. That's commitment to the bit.
It is commitment, but and it's not that I'm taking away from Dalton. I think very highly of Dalton, and he knows that. But luckily for him, it's all the same car. That definitely helps a lot, right? The bigger commitment. Imagine if, let's say, if SRA was Arca, Blazing Pedals was Cup, and High Tide was road course racing, GT3s. That's the real commitment, because it's a different discipline every night. But when you're great at a car and you love a car like the Arca car, and trust me, Dalton loves these Arca cars. It's easier to be motivated when it's a car you love.
Still plenty of action left to run in this one as we are working lap 9 of 90, checking in on Anthony Williams. And, well, to say it has not been going his way would kind of be putting it a little bit mildly. It is a rough ride for him so far. And, well, right now, it's safe to say he's not going to be in for a good run right now. There you can see how much Gavin Austin has been gaining on him, right? 3 seconds a lap just about. That is devastating for Anthony Williams. He's going to be caught here in only a lap or 2 if he doesn't get a caution quick.
Yeah, we talked about, I thought maybe 12 laps was the maximum, so we're just about there. Here we are working lap 10 of 90 here at Daytona. So overall, a lot of drivers deem this to be success. We're a little bit more than almost 10% through, about 9% through, I guess, of this race. And look at us, we're still green. You and I have both seen, participated in, driven, commentated, whatever races at this track. But we don't get a lap in, because these guys are 10 laps in. That's got to be a big boost of confidence for a new season for the SRA.
Oh, it's huge, right? And to be fair, super speedway racing has always been a place that SRA has excelled at. Remember the season opener, the Truck Series? They went all the way, I think, until about lap 70. No, not quite. Maybe about lap 60 before they got their first actual yellow flag of the race. You see Corey Bonino driving to the front around the outside of Jim Duda down there on the inside. But, super speedways are a place these guys have really excelled at, and I think they're really showing that this afternoon. You also saw a new fastest lap set that last time by as well.
Well, that's a key thing here at Daytona or Talladega or any super speedway. That fastest lap, likely to see another one's going to tick off the board here. That's often going to be set by someone pretty deep in the field, right? In fact, you don't even see it in the top 20 here on the side of your screen. It's the car back in 34th. That's how the draft works. Sometimes the further back you are, the more that draft pulls you around. And it can make you feel like Superman back there, right? It can make you go, man, why aren't we moving? Why aren't we doing something, right? Because you just have all that speed built up inside. Oh, you see Zane Bailey got a bit of a wiggle on the car in front of him, and that could have been bad. They all got it wrapped up and saved there. Now more to Paul Witt. Talked about him earlier. Look at all the movement. Oh, there's a car in the sucker hole.
And I do believe that may have been our lap car of Anthony Williams, who just went down a lap. But you can tell how sketchy it is right now.
Ideal. No, if I was a driver in this race, I would not be thrilled right now with Anthony Williams. And
it was Williams.
Oh, that's... Boy, oh boy. I'll tell you what, driver chat's pretty quiet, all things considered, for the fact they have a lap car in the middle. I would be upset.
Heads up!
Oh, there it is. Yep, there it is. There was a few words. We can't use the broadcast.
There we go. Hard into the wall for Williams. Took Bart's with him. No caution, though. We are going to keep it green, and looks like we're actually going to get away with that with only a 1 or a 2 car incident.
That's incredible. Well, the 3 car's not going to get away with it. That car's done, I'm pretty sure. Looks like maybe it broke a toe link from the way that car's wiggling back and forth.
These guys need to go. They haven't realized there wasn't a caution for that, I don't think. I think maybe just now they realize it because they're now back on the loud pedal.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate for those guys. Some of those guys did the right thing by checking up for a wreck that never got deemed to be a caution, right? And that's the unfortunate part, so...
Yeah.
But the unfortunate part, too, I'm going to come back and talk about it for a second and try to sound judgmental. Like, when you are a lead lap car and you're lapping somebody, depending upon the track, depending upon your preference, you want them either high or low. So let's go back and watch again here and see, is this going to get, the air is going to move around, he's going to get bumped off one car and they're going to fully save the car. And lifting probably would have made it worse, for the record, just in credit to the three. But I, as a driver, I want probably the lap cars to be at the top of the wall, let us all squeeze by. Some drivers would prefer the lap cars at the bottom and we'll all kind of move up the lane. I hate that at Super because it breaks the draft, and this is not my thing. But in the middle, gosh, that's just unnecessary risk for lap 13 and lap 14. That's, well, boy.
So lap 15 of the race, and now looking for a bit of 3 wide. Bodendell up on the top side with no help. Zane Bailey going to go up the middle. And Brett Malone down to the inside as well. So several cars have separated from the leading pack as a result of that. I believe the first being about Xavier Dawkins-Batiste, and right now sitting about 2 seconds back. If you want to get a visual representation as to how far back that is in terms of lap progression, well, we got a brand new live timing system up and rolling along with a new look for the channel. That is pinned right now in the YouTube live feed, and it's got a handy little marker. It's got to track where people are in relation to each other on the lap. So always more information that I'm sure but most fans won't complain about.
Yeah, great information available to you, right? It's always cool to have all that stuff available to you. But start to think about the references we can make for you that you've heard 1,000 times. You know, football fields a second. That's what we're doing here, right? Like, we're crossing multiple football fields. You know, it just right away. So it's easy to kind of lose perspective because of how fast it looks and how quote-unquote easy it can look as a spectator. But we are covering lots of ground. We're covering 2.5 miles in about 48 seconds per lap right now at Daytona.
So this here is the battle for 3rd on down, or 18th on down. 3-car fight here at the moment for this pairing, and you can tell again just how much this has seriously impacted them as a result of that. Anthony Williams, by the way, has been down to pit road. He has just gotten a meatball flag clear from his car, so he's going to be able to get back up and rolling as a result. So he's now back out onto the racetrack. Again, a tough break for Anthony Williams. Didn't make the start of the race, and, well, could argue he brought that kind of on himself.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what, let me be fair to Anthony Williams for a second, say too, and we were talking, I didn't hear all of it, so maybe this did happen. That's also on the leaders a little bit, right? As a leader, you have a responsibility to communicate. That was a word I used in our opening earlier, right? About communication. And that means as a leader, if I come up with you and I say, hey, you know, Nolan, I see you're, we're coming up on you fast. Can you please go high? Can you please go low? It's on me. It's my job as a leader, in my opinion, to communicate and kind of express and to lead and to dictate that spot. Now look at the speed of leading and dictating. You can see a pass to lead up there. That green and yellow car, Aaron Raymond has gone to the front. But as leaders, it is your job to communicate and dictate where that lap car goes. He may not follow and listen to you, but it's your expectation to kind of set the standard, and hopefully that'll happen.
So first on back to 17th, still in the line. I'm not a fan of how disconjointed these lines are. I mean, everybody's kind of hopping from one lane to another. It's making this so sketchy to run in right now. They got several packs of 2 or 3 that have separated off of the field as a result. Ryan Zimmerman, of course, being among them. But you see all of your front runners working off of turn number 2 and down the Daytona super stretch. It gets a bit dicey off these corners when you're making those types of moves.
It does, right? It gets a little bit more dangerous every time you lane change, every time you take your lead, every time you bump draft someone. But that only expresses how powerful that these Arca cars are within the iRacing service, how powerful they are in the draft, right? You have an incredible amount of suction in that draft. They're going to outside lane now to your screen left. That car third in line, he is getting an incredible pull, and he's going to be up there sucked up into that second car not too long from now. So the runs we're getting, the lane changes we're making, the lead changes that are happening is all a credit to that draft that's happening right now. So that shows just how much fun these drivers are having, that they feel comfortable making those moves. By the way, I do believe pit stops not too far from happening. Heard some drivers say only about 2.3 laps of gas left here. So about lap 22, at most I'll see pit road get busy. And our first set of pit stops for the season for the SRA.
On board with Bruce Malone as the driver of the 99 works his way down the front straightaway. Lap times have slowed down quite significantly, and for a moment, we do have cars into pit road here this time by. That is Dudley, I think Van Leer as well. It is. It's Van Leer.
These two drivers are pitting alone, and that's going to be interesting, right? Because typically, when it comes to drafting here, more cars is what you prefer. So we'll talk about that here. I think part of this lead pack's now going to fit in. Cody Witt's coming in. I think Joshua Burke's coming in. There you go. The calls have been happening off the radio. There's Aaron Raymond, I believe, just came in. So.
Whoa, look out!
Hold on, there's a spin in the back. That's the 24. That's that green and purple machine.
Yeah, Joshua Burke kind of clipping the inside wall. Tough break for him.
Did he clip something else first? That's why get spun around. Did someone else hit him? I
think he just locked the rears.
Pretty awkward. That's our second no caution. Now, that one I understand, by the way. From an Irishman's perspective, we can talk about that after pit stops. But we go 1, 2, 3, 4 cars already off pit road. There's 5 and 6 right there. Another one is 7. So this is that herd of cars I'd prefer to be in if I had to pit. Now, unfortunately, Joshua Burke's going to be a man without a country here, unless he catches up with this pack right here. 55. That looked close, and I was not ready to call a speeding penalty in the 55, but I think he got away with it.
Yeah, good run for him on that deal. Jeez Louise, man. I mean, that's pushing the limit, but that's what you got to do at a track like this, right?
Yep. Oh, absolutely. That can easily take you, for example, from 6th or 7th in a drafting lane to leading the drafting lane after a pit stop. So that's pretty crazy to see that happen. But good job for the 55. I think we'll see him get a good run off. Everyone's now going to come out. Now what they want to do is they want to get lined up as soon as possible, find a drafting partner, and make progress, right? That drafting lane is important. There's a good amount of speed difference here between going by yourself and going with a partner.
Here come the front runners out of pit road. Gavin Austin and Aaron Raymond lined up nose to tail, but with little help, I don't know how far they're going to be able to take this. Now they're kind of linked up. They might be able to take this all the way to the front.
Yeah, they need to get down right there if they're going to. No, they're going to stay around. Okay.
And gonna try it.
There it is.
I thought maybe they might go up the middle there.
Nice job looking pulling behind Zane Bailey here. And of course, Jim Duda is first and second, now third and fourth. So on back from there. Now we've got a bunch of splinter groups. Now the question will be who lines up the best, who holds the line the best. Those will be things that will factor into how quickly this group, if or when it gets formed back together. Look at that. That's not what you want. That's almost the opposite of what I just said. Those guys are cutting each other off. They're chopping off noses. It's taking a while to build up that speed and momentum here. I just want to confirm with 24. I was wrong. He just stabbed the brakes too hard coming into pit road, Nolan. I thought maybe he got tapped by someone, or maybe he did something wrong. I think he just stabbed the brakes too hard from speeding up pit road, and that's what caused that 24 to loop around. So he's well up in the pack here, unfortunately.
It's a tough break, right? But I mean, again, I hate to say it, that is part of it. And well, what are you going to do, right? Other than just kind of get your head down and get back rolling at it again.
Yeah, that's all you can do. And honestly, if you're 24 and Joshua Burke, now you see him out there on the outside. We needed to pull down quicker into that lane right there. I'm surprised he didn't. But all you can do is hope for a caution at this point to help level the field, to help maybe give you a lucky dog or get you a wave around or do something for you. But boy, I'm surprised that pack went around. They were, 6 cars deep. He could have probably pulled down behind them quicker, Nolan, and tried to use some of that draft, but did not want to or did not feel that possible in the moment. Whoa, look at that Zane Bailey up top.
Yeah.
Zane Bailey, yeah. I think maybe the air moved him up top, and he's got a little wide out of the corner. Now this lane's going to break apart. Now this right here, this is great news, Nolan, for that group behind it, back in the camera. You barely see, because they right there, every time you do that, every time you get too wide, you break up your draft a little bit. You allow that second group to start catching up. Weirdly enough, Zane Bailey's moved to the back of the field. Maybe he wants to save some gas. Here, this is the 24. This will be at the end of pit road.
Yeah, I thought might have been able to get him afterwards. Might have to back this up a bit.
30 seconds before that, and then we'd be able to see. He does get hit after he stabs the brakes, I think by the 17, unfortunately. But
well, that's
a little bit before that.
Just a wee bit. We're almost there, though.
Yeah, we're playing with new technology tonight. Here it is. Look at that. You see the car wiggle, just got stabbed on the brakes, got scared. Then got tapped by the, I think this is 17, that bright sort of aqua seafoam-ish colored car of Noah Swafford.
Here we go. You can hear him lock the rears.
Yep. That's the risk. Remember you talked about the 55, the risk of coming in pit road too hot, the risk of what could happen. Well, there it is. That's what can happen. You get on those brakes too hard, you stab him. The back end came around, and he was just along for the ride.
Racing action continuing on as per. Working lap 28 of 90. Jared Duda started to drop back quite significantly here. Something happened to the 53 entry. He was in the lead of the race, and now, all of a sudden, he is tanked like a stone all the way back to 12.
Yeah, there's a few things that happened here all of a sudden. Curiosity in the first couple of packs, actually. There's the Dudas story right here. Now that hole right there will close pretty quickly in this draft. The 24, by the way, still trying to hang on to a draft in the back of this camera shot you see there. I think he might have the draft. Let's see if we can find out what's going to happen to him. Just since he get bumped too hard. Ooh, that sideways bump.
Careful.
Yep. And is he going to get bumped too hard?
Oh, yep. Oh, what a save, though.
Got bumped on that corner transition, and you're right, what a great save. No doubt about that. So that's a great job there. The other thing that's curious to me, by the way, when we go back live here in just a moment, look at the front of the field. Zane Bailey. Unless my eyes deceive me, like 3 laps ago, didn't we just see Zane Bailey like get up to the top and like go to the back? I think he's playing with them, and not negatively, not anyway. But I think he's doing what I call science experiments, right? He now knows that when this race ends, if he needs to make a move from 5th to 1st, he has the car to do it. That's what he just did. He literally just went from the front to the back of that pack and back to the front again in about 2 or 3 laps.
You want to know something else awkward about that moment we just saw with, oh boy, Bailey. Check back on that in just a moment. Holy cow, Zane Bailey.
That's incredible. That's incredible that he got spun around like that. And he's just going to lose the draft, maybe? Is he going to stick in it? Is he going to get in the back of the 99? That's incredible. The fact that he got bumped around, turned like 30 degrees, and it's going to hold on to this draft, that's almost unheard of. There's no reason why he's not back in the second draft pack right now.
And this is going to be coming off of turn number 2 here.
By the way, and this will show you how unknowing you are, what happens around you at Daytona. Hey, I'm doing good. Oh, crap.
Wild moments there, and well, he continues on as per the norm. Again, the awkward moment that Jared had, that was his dad that did that to him.
That is awkward, yeah. It goes back to the age-old question we ask one another, right? Like, you know, would you wreck so-and-so for a 500 win, or would you wreck so-and-so for a Coke 600 win, or...
Yes.
You ask those questions, would you rather style questions, right? Like, you know, would you wreck your dad for a Daytona 500 win? Well, we might find out in a little bit if you'd wreck your dad for a win at Daytona. It's not a 500, but listen, when you're a sim racing nerd, a win at Daytona is a win at Daytona. I don't care if it's 5 laps, 200 laps, the road course, you know, whatever it is. Winning is winning. So keep that in mind. Here's the 48, by the way. This is the front of pack. That is Van Leer. And right now they're about 7 seconds back, I believe, from the front pack. And I think that pack is too big, Nolan. There's something weird to say, right? That draft pack is too big. It's causing too many checkups. You can kind of see it in how they're all behaving. If that pack were smaller, they'd be more successful. Although that feels weird to say too big of a drafting line, but it's true.
It does exist. It's a weird phenomenon, but it is very much a phenomenon that can still exist. And
I'm sorry, you said it's a what? It's a weird
phenomenon. Okay.
No? Okay.
I don't get the reference. I don't get these references.
Oh my gosh.
I think you're probably older than I am. I think that's why I'm not understanding this.
Well, I just think you're a little unfortunate. I mean, we'll go through it later, but it's fine. But boy, now look at this. I said how that lane was behaving. Look how they're behaving now. 2-3 lanes of driving. They're all. No one here is gaining time. They're all losing time because no one's in the draft. This is pure calamity here in the second pack. They are. Look at that. I said they were 7 seconds back. Now they're almost 8.5 seconds back. That is not how you gain speed here.
You got your opening pack here that's still running very, very strong. 5 cars, pretty much perfectly in line. And then here's everyone else that's still trying to figure out what the game plan is here. We are over a third of the way into this race now. 26 cars remain on the lead lap tonight. So overall, not a bad run that we're having. I think this field's still one that most people can be kind of happy about. How about Paul Witt? Paul Witt started to drop back a little bit in the number 4 spot.
Well, and keep all that in mind as we say again. There's Zane Bailey now still in the back of the field. We're what, 5, 6, 7 laps away from our next set of pit stops. They all pitted on lap, let's say lap 23-ish, lap 22, lap 21. So as we're working lap 35, we're not that far away from another round of pit stops here. And we'll see what kind of chaos that brings, if everyone can do it successfully. Who does or doesn't have a good pit stop will all be things that matters and help determine who wins this race at the end here, hopefully on lap 90 and not any further.
These are the 3 pit stops of the main stint leaders at the moment. You can see right around the 21-22 mark for Jim Duda, Thomas Lane Jr., and Cody Witt. Currently turning lap number 36. So, yeah, kind of, something that needs to be worked on, I think, a bit obviously here as drivers are working to still get themselves figured out with the pit stop window. And the stints are longer than we had in the truck series. You know, truck races here, we were looking at maybe 18, 19 laps top, so about 3-4 laps longer than what we're used to seeing in the truck series. And I think that might be having a bit of an impact on how these guys are planning these pit stops out as well.
Yeah, it definitely can have an impact on it. Remember, the 65% fuel limit. So if you're typically someone who likes to race these Arca cars or has seen them in other broadcasts, maybe you're wondering why we're pitting so often. In order to keep things exciting, the SRA has put a 65% fuel limit on these cars. Also, 4 total sets of tires, by the way. The 1 you start with and 3 more on pit road. So lots of decisions to be made here in this moment. But look at that big line again. Look at now that they're kind of starting to get together. They're kind of starting maybe to work this out. Watching on side from Bruce Malone here. 186 through the corner. He'll get about 190 in the draft here out of the corner. Those are incredible speeds.
You see, again, I was being very tactical about kind of lifting out in the corners into the tri-oval, not wanting to go for a bump trap. They're only comfortable with pushing when it's flat on the racetrack. I do like that, right? He's playing it smart, Bruce Malone is. He's making sure that he's not giving Thomas Lane Jr. any uncomfortable bumps up the road. He's playing the safe game, and I think that's kind of what you got to do right around now, because you don't want to be the guy that, you know, kills a 38-lap run at Daytona.
No, that said, though, it is your job. I think that the second car in line, which is where Malone is, has the most important job, in a way, of any draft pack, right? Because it is his job to push the car in front of him, because that helps dictate and determine the pace of this drafting line. A good drafter and a good pusher can easily make a line a second and a half faster than if you don't know how to push. Oftentimes you'll see that negotiation happen live where someone says, hey, listen, you know, are you having a hard time pushing? Because if you are, let's swap. Let me try to push him, because that push up front helps dictate the pace of the rest of the line.
It kind of shows.
Right there.
Yeah, right? Taking a look here on the last pit stop laps of everybody in this field, kind of pull that out here. And yeah, right around the 22 to 23 mark. Some drivers like Van Leer and Dudley we can expect to see in around lap 42 because they pitted back on 21. Might be a little bit sooner as well. So it's, again, one of those things, kind of got to play your cards a little bit carefully around that. But, you know, that information can be critical. And I think what this tells us is pretty easily who's going to be pitting with who.
It also tells you who's comfortable in what position, right? Some people love pushing. Some people love being pushed. And that's not exactly a universal decision, right? Some people don't like to be pushed. So we may come to a point where, let's say that where Malone loves pushing, but isn't comfortable being pushed by a car behind him. So it kind of tells you where everyone's comfortable in their roles for the moment, right? Who wants to ride around and do this, you know, in the most comfortable fashion? Well, here you are. We're seeing examples of it. And I'm hearing calls of pit stops possibly this time or next time by. So we'll keep our eye open on pit road. You'll see the pit graphic on the left side of your screen on the leaderboard as well. But any moment now, we'll see our second round of pit stops here at Daytona.
So Duda, Austin, Witt, Bailey, and Raymond still lead for the top five in this one. Thomas Lane Jr. now only 6 seconds behind. I think that is worth noting. You know, 7.12 between the leaders and Thomas Lane Jr. That is significantly lower than what the 8.5, almost 9 that it was at earlier on. So they have been making small gains. Small gains, yes, but gains nonetheless. Here comes Van Leer and Dudley into pit road along with Mertz. This is right on schedule.
Great job by the 99 and that Tony the Tiger car there. Got it slowed down just in time. So for at least for right now, the leaders will get a bigger lead because they're going to, you know, gain time from that group that split apart. But I think the leaders are coming this time by. So here we are now working at lap 42. We're almost halfway done with this race at Daytona, all under green flag.
Dudley and Van Leer remain in pit road, and they have all just made their way out of pit road. So they are now headed off into turn numbers 1 and 2. Top 5 still not coming down to pit road this time. And same story back here. No one coming down yet.
No, in fact, now they're saying they're trying to see if maybe they feel safe enough they can make it to 43 or 44. So that is important because of what will happen later, right? It won't cut a pit stop off. We're not talking about endurance road racing when we're talking about pitting later. But if we're talking about if we continue to pit under green every time, how many, half a second could you save? How many seconds could you save on pit road needing less gas in that final pit stop? And as we talked about how speeding on pit road is important, every less tick of a second on pit road is important because it may gain you a few spots you need to claim the victory. Here they are. Here's the leaders coming down. So look at that, 3 wide, almost coming to pit road.
And they're going to get it all slowed up. And here comes one more, all by his lonesome. But from the meanwhile, 6th on back to stay out. And this is going to be the race for what will very well be the net race lead coming off of pit road.
So everyone here likely just gas and 2 tires, by the way. It takes too long to put 4 tires on. So typically you'll see drivers alternate right side, left side when they take tires. And here they are already off the pit road that fast.
Uh-oh, Larry Bell, black flag. Unsure what for, but it has been cleared.
Here's another pack down. They're all coming down. Oh boy, that car on the outside made me nervous. I thought maybe he wasn't going to get checked up there, but he does.
Sorry, clarification on Larry Bell. It was not cleared, it was served. So, if you obviously it was cleared, that means the penalty has been served. They do not clear black flags in the series. So, a penalty has been served for Larry Bell. I'm willing to bet speeding on the entry. Yep. It seems
or the
likely
exit,
to me.
one of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. More likely in the entrance because he served it on the same lap. So you're right. Probably on the entrance would be the right call. Well, there you go. Another set of drivers down pit road and coming off of pit road. Already lined up, but too wide. Don't want to get that sorted out as the leaders go on by.
Yeah, I was going to say, but look at how far ahead the leaders are already. These guys are going to be left in the dust out here.
But again, Cindy, this is a game of numbers, right? If you pit a lap or two after the leaders, where does that cycle rotate completely, right? If we keep saying green, so you figure 22 laps, let's say 23 laps, we'll pit again on, what, 68, and then 88. That should, next time, could be our last set of pit stops, depending upon how late you pitted, right? So do you possibly catch them that way? That's a real possibility, of course, that you catch them on that last pit stop. You may need a tick less of gas than they do, and you gain the spot. Typically, the way we calculate in NASCAR, by the way, is roughly, a second on pit road is about 2 seconds on track. So if I gain a second on you on pit road, the estimate is it's about the same as catching about 2 seconds on track as we're 3 wide here. And there's that car up top. He did a good job. That's I think the Valvoline car.
Jared Duda, the 53. Well, halfway home in the Arca Blitz, 225, 45 down, coming to 44 to go this time by. There's Anthony Williams being put down a 4th lap now. And while we've had a couple of incidents, we still have everybody on the track, and we are still caution-free.
And once again, if you're, admin of this league, if you're a driver of this league, this is something to pound your chest about. This is something to be proud of. Say, hey, listen, our league can do this, right? Because not every league does. Not every broadcast does. You and I have been a part of numerous broadcasts at super speedways and other tracks where we would have cautioned multiple times by now. So this is sort of an advertisement for your league, right? If you want to say, hey, listen, why do you want to come race with us? Let me show you the first 47 laps of this race. Let me show you the pit stops, the lead changes, the green flag run. This is why we believe the SRA is the best there is.
I'm curious to see how things are going to be going next week at Auto Club, where you can't just stay tucked up in line the whole race. It's a whole different ballgame.
Also a big track, and likely also a green flag track, because even though it's not a drafting track, it's a track typically where drivers get spaced out, right? We're not talking about a Phoenix or a Dover, a Bristol, a Martinsville, where you're all on top of one another. It's easy to get spaced out, not just for how wide the corners are, but how big that track is. And so it's very possible that once that group gets spread out next week, there's not that many wrecks probably, and it could be a great green flag run there as well. But we are about to start lap 49 and see a car falling to the back there. That's the 053. And Zane Bailey continues to lead around here.
Zane Bailey going to continue to plug laps away. We are over the halfway mark in this race. We're going to take ourselves a quick step back. When we return, it's more racing action from Daytona to the National Speedway on Green Flag TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV. If you're just tuning in, you're watching the Arca Blitz 225 from the inaugural NasClassic race here on Green Flag TV. My name is Ola Rampel alongside Derek Watson. We have been caution-free from the get-go. Only one real incident to note, and it was, of course, with the car at the back of the shot spinning on the way into pit road. 90 laps was scheduled on the docket. We're turning lap 56 of 90 with 35 laps to go.
Yeah, I guess really two incidents of note, right? We also had the 3 wide issue with the lap car at the 99, but not 9. Sorry, the 99 was the victim of that. But so it was 2 incidents, but neither was a caution. You could have debated the first one should have been a caution with the 3 wide car, but was not. So such is life. But look at us here. In fact, there is the 24. That is Joshua Burke. That's who you talked about. He did crash entering pit road. Got tapped by the 17, by the way. So he is a lap down, although he is sitting right there on the back of the drafting pack. He is not on the lead lap. In fact, Joshua Burke scored 2 laps down as of this moment. So if you're Joshua Burke, you're probably rooting for those yellow flags to start flying so you can find your way maybe as a lucky dog or a wave around or what have you around this pack.
It's one of those types of deals where you got to kind of hope for the cautions to come your way, and he's not the only one, right? I got several cars that are laps down. Jeff Gilmore also in the leading group, and Wesley Strait both laps down as well. Wesley Strait was hoping for more this afternoon. He is making his SRA debut this afternoon. So tough break for the driver of the 89. Not sure where he lost that lap from. Willing to bet he just kind of lost the draft coming out from pit road. I did notice his last time by, he was 4 seconds slower than the leader. So that's probably where he lost the lead from at that point.
Yeah, probably had.
Oh, hello, look out. Sorry, Van Leer.
Rally cross course.
Oh, that's going to be a black flag. Oh, look out! Oh, no! Oh, boy! And that's a huge hit. And Anthony Williams gets taken with him. Oh, dear.
Well, caution is out. The caution-free run has ended. I am going to wait for a couple replays to reserve judgment because I have a couple thoughts in my head.
I don't blame you.
From a first camera, it looked a little suspect. But we'll wait and see now. Right now, if you're Jeff Gilmore, you're probably happy. That's your lucky dog, assuming you weren't involved in a wreck. So here's Van Leer. He's going to get a push in the 99 out of the corner. Probably a bit of a sideways push. Yep, see the 99 is kind of wiggling back and forth. And that just part of the nature of the racing. Here he comes through the grass down pit road. So there's already, well, maybe not. Actually, he kept in the grass before the yellow cone. So no penalty here. Now it's kind of taking the Daytona Rally Cross course, which is a real thing, by the way, in iRacing. And this would be a penalty right here. This is already an unsafe pit exit. Gets it stopped, I thought.
And then,
stop.
Oh my.
Yeah, you can't pull forward. That's.
Why would you move?
Why would you not throw it in reverse? That's. Wow.
I'm a bit surprised the caution didn't come out sooner. It didn't really come out until after he was hit.
Right. No, you're right. I agree with that 100%, by the way. Look at the full speed here. Just did a great job at first. Did a great job of staying off pit road, avoiding the penalty. Unfortunately, got it right here. When you're inside that green cone, Irish is going to tag you for an unsafe pit exit. And this right here's the problem. Tags Williams, and let me say this. All things considered, only 2 cars involved in that. That's not the worst scenario. I'm not saying we want it to happen, but I'm saying that could have been tremendously worse. Well, here we are now. Pit stops underway and live, but we're going to watch another replay here. This will be from Van Leer. This is on board. There's a small bump. Does a good job lifting. Watch his RPMs come down. That means he's lifting, trying to stay off the gas, but that's the best way to save a race car.
And this was Cliff Adams. And he saw, whoa, boy.
There's the seat right there. Actually, that's pretty cool as Arca cars now. I didn't realize in the Arca cars now we have a caution indicator right on the dashboard there. That's pretty cool.
So Van Leer, you can see him on the screen with that black flag indicated by the black box to the right of his name. So that will be the unsafe pit entrance and release penalty that he'll both have to serve. Man, that's rough being dinged twice in a row for that, right?
Well, I think he might only have one. He might just have. I don't think he got the entrance penalties. He had the car up in the grass before the yellow cone.
Oh, you're not wrong. Yeah.
So maybe just one of them, right? Maybe just the it'll get him for unsafe exit, unfortunately, which is a weirdly named penalty since he wasn't really on pit road. But it'll ding him for that for sure. There's some smoke in the back of the field. What the heck is going on?
That's Jared Duda. And judging from the way the tires are flicked on that car and how he blinked, I'm willing to bet he's just had a hardware failure. Oh, and I think somebody else just clipped him.
I think someone else has lost the front of a car.
Yeah. What? Good grief.
Wow. We went from a calm race to chaos in like 5 minutes. Let's see if we can find out what happens here.
This is first Anthony Williams' view of the incident. And then
we'll come back to the Van Leer incident. So here we are. Now watch just to your left. You'll see that car get shot off the track in just a moment here. Actually, it already has been shot off the track. So from Williams' point of view, he has nothing idea. There's the smoke. There's the smoke.
Oh,
he thought he was clear. Man, if you're Williams,
yeah,
you've got to be upset right now because you thought you had that clear. And
now this will be hopefully what happened to Jared Duda. He's already kind of
afterwards.
Yeah, sitting already on the racetrack there. All right, so this is coming off pit road.
The RPMs are really low right there.
Right there, yeah.
That's a hardware failure or something. Yep.
That's a wheel disconnect through and through.
And just for those watching home, if you don't know how we know that wheel snapping to the left in that case, I believe it was, that's indicative of a wheel disconnect on your PC. That's what the calibration will do if you have no wheel connect. It'll snap one way, and it's meant to do that, I think, as a way to maybe, not have you continue driving forward in that moment. All right, well, let's go through this. Jeff Gilmore was the lucky dog, by the way. I think Leslie Straight has gotten a lap back, as has Larry Bell. They stayed out. They did not pit, so they are going to be a little short on gas. If you're Wesley Straight or Larry Bell, Nolan, you are now hoping that a second yellow comes out so you can go down pit road and fill it up with gas. By the way, we caution on lap 60-ish. They all pit in lap 60, so we will need to stop one more time. No one can make it 30 laps on gas.
Furthest we've made it in one stint has been roughly 23, 24, maybe, if you're really pushing it. So, yeah, one more stop, and it's going to be with under 10 to go unless these guys opt to come down sooner. I might opt to come down sooner, honestly. That way you're not kind of caught off guard if you get an overtime attempt coming in.
But if you pit sooner and that pesky caution flag flies,
you could make it. That's true. Right? That's tough.
The question is, can you pit, splash and go, and stay on the lead lap? In that case, you'll come back around to the front of the field here. Speaking of the front of the field, here we are. Green flag is back out. Gavin Austin needs to field around. It's got Jim Duda on the outside. Nolan, I can always get it backwards. I know you know. Father, son, Jared and Jim. Which one is which?
Jim is the dad.
Jim is the dad, so father setting a good example here. Look at that top lane, had a big line, a humongous gap on the bottom. So I expect to see Duda get a great run here on the backstretch.
Now, here's a scenario we didn't really think about as well, right? The good old lift and coast. That was not decisive enough, but hey, it all as well ends well. But we've seen a lot where drivers will deliberately go around like half throttle. They'll back up the lap times of about 5 seconds or so just to save fuel. Is that viable this late in the game if everybody's willing to go with it?
It could be. Let's come back to that, by the way. I say right now, Jim Duda not happy with the pushes he's getting from Gavin Austin. A lot of it, begging and pleading. Please don't turn me. Please don't turn me.
Oh, my God.
On the driver radio. So Gavin Austin decided, hey, listen, we're not working together. And he's pulled up in lane, and now it's Zane Bailey pushing on the back of Duda. Coming back to your question, though, about the lift and coast. I don't think it matters here because stopping up pit road under green, if that's what we do, you'll lose a lot of time with that lift and coast. I don't think it's worth it here. We're not talking about possibly shaving a pit stop off. We're not talking about, like extending it to make it or not make it. I would just go full throttle here, be up front, and sort of write my own story. The last thing I want to do is be in the middle of that pack because I'm lifting and coasting and let something unfortunate happen in this moment.
Well, 27 on the boards, and Tanner Marr going to set the new fastest lap of the race today, 47.325. So Marr getting a bit of a healthy draft there from the middle of the group. It looks like he's running right now back in 18th place. That 69 car up on the high side, so Yeah, that fastest lap likely coming from just getting in line. Oh, here we go. 3 wide. Multiple rows deep entering turn number 3. That's brave. Up the middle and around they go.
Wrecking in the back of the field. It's going to be involved in a 4 with other cars up top, I believe. Well, this will likely kill the pit stop conversation.
How is that not bigger?
Yeah, that's a great question, right? He had a car turn about 45 degrees in front of the field. He just went up the track and hugged the wall.
Man.
But lots of cars involved. Larry Bell was down in the dirt. Many more involved. Watch it again. Watch the top lane here. It says 3 wide racing. I think you're going to see a bad bump right here.
Yeah, right there. Oh, man.
Actually, I don't know. Maybe not. The bump was well
think?
before that. The 62 right there is the car up top. Boy, oh boy.
Let's take a look at it again here.
So that's Gavin Austin. Oh, there's a pump in the back from the 4 who got to the 28. You're right. Or you're right. Got completely just to the back end of Gavin Austin on the back quarter panel, and then turn him around. And the 28 was able to get a check. Congrats to the 28. Ooh. Big props to him. Boy, oh boy. That is Brian Zimmerman. Great job of getting that car checked up and not running over Austin and making it 10 times worse. Well, unfortunately for Gavin Austin, you went from leading to backing out of a push that someone wasn't happy with to be involved. What likely could be the big one.
The fact that ended up being effectively a 1-car incident is astounding to me.
Oh, yeah.
It was a car that was up on the outside that just barely avoided that.
Let's do this if we can while we're watching the replays here.
It's the 28. Ryan Zimmerman. Just barely sneaking through.
Let's do something here. We're going to
look on board with Zimmerman.
That's Brian Zimmerman. After watching the on board, let's go ahead and bring into the Green Flag TV booth Brian Zimmerman. Brian, that looks terrifying.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. It all happened in front of us. We've been pushing 62 there on the outside, trying to get him to the front. And, yeah, all of it started happening in front of us. And we tried to get through it. We got a little bit of damage. Should be good.
It kind of looked like, actually, in a weird way, the wall kind of helped you. It looked like maybe scrubbing the wall slowed that car down more and kind of helped you from making it a worse wreck. Is that your perspective so far, or are you not aware?
Yeah, I was trying to just stay high. I didn't want to run over the 62. He was kind of turning in front of us. I was trying to ride the brakes, slow down as much as I could without getting hit from the rear. Yeah, that was, and then once he kept slowing down, we tried to get up under him. I think I clipped him just a little bit, but got a little bit of damage, but we got some repairs there. I think we should be good to go to the end here. We'll see if we can make it. I don't think the damage is going to cause us any problems.
What about the gas? If you don't want to talk about it on the broadcast, I understand.
No, we're good. I'm about a lap short right now. We're saving here under caution, so hopefully we can make it, but it will be close for a lot of people.
Are you going to? You don't want to go?
Let's see, we're 2 to go right now. So
I know. I was asking, are you going to pit again with 1 to go to get gas?
No, sir. All right. I'm hoping that a few will, and I'll pick up some spots right here.
All right, Brian. Listen. Well, I'm going to put you back down with your team so you can work on your focus and strategy. Thanks for stopping in, and maybe we'll talk to you at the end.
Sounds great, bud. You have a good one.
Thank you. That is Brian Zimmerman. We'll put him back down with his team. Well, he sounded as surprised as anyone that he made it through, Nolan.
I don't blame him. We took the look on board, right? I mean, it's about as tight as it could get there. And I think the fact that he did avoid getting into him is the sole thing that saved that wreck from being much smaller than it really should have been.
Yeah, odd thing to say. Thank you to the wall for slowing him down. We're the driver. Are we happy to be in the wall, right? But he is, because that probably helped him get slowed it down. Let's do one more quick interview here. I'll be a bit of a menace to the drivers here. If I can find Aaron Raymond in the Discord. Aaron Raymond, there he is. Let's go and bring him in here. We'll talk to him real quick and we'll welcome in here Aaron Raymond into the broadcast booth. Aaron Raymond, quickly welcome into the Green Flag TV broadcast booth. You're going to start here on the outside, or excuse me, yeah, on the outside. How you feeling?
Well, it's going to be very tight on fuel, so it's going to try and tuck in behind someone to save. We're probably going to get another caution though, so I really have no idea.
If we don't get a caution, are you going to do the lift and coast and try to make the gas, or are you just going to lay on it and pray?
I'm right on my number, about a lap short, so it's going to be close, so I'll just have to see how it goes.
All right, well, listen, I'll put you back down with your team. Good luck the rest of the race, and maybe we'll talk to you in Victory Circle.
Thank you.
All right, that is Aaron Raymond's going to start on the outside here, Nolan. Well, you heard it twice now. Gas is still a concern. If you're a driver, you may have wanted that caution to come out one lap later. But let's see who can do what.
Into the Geico restart zone. Green flag up in the air, and racing action resumes once again for the Daytona International Speedway. Jim Duda making a good track from the outside. Gavin Austin, the driver that just got involved in that latest incident, somehow got his spot back, and he is right back up there into fourth and is now the main pusher up high. And boy, that's awkward for Jim, who just wasn't happy about the pushes he was getting from him.
Well, the thing I'm more concerned about right now, if I'm a driver behind them. Oh, hold on. Oh, there's another wreck.
Oh, boy.
Ironic timing, talked about maybe pushes you're not happy with.
And
I'm not saying yet. We'll wait and see the replay, but so that's a good timing by you to get that topic out there, because that may have been a bad push. Now, the question will be, was it a bad push or was it a bad move, right? In other words, earlier you and I got nervous by a lane change that Duda pulled off where it kind of took his time, and you can't do that in a super speedway. So I'm going to play mediator here until I see what happened, because we'll wait and see. But, well, that throws, I think, any gas concerns out the window. And unfortunately, also done for the day will be that car, that crab walk, if you will. That's what we like to call it in racing. That sort of sideways drive. It's not a good sign. So here's the restart. Watch the big gap on the outsides. Gavin Austin's going to get tucked up behind Duda here.
Here we go. Managed to find it. There we go. This will do.
So watch this. Duda starts to make the lane change, does not commit, and he tried to get back up in front of Gavin Austin. This is not on Gavin Austin. This is on Duda. This is a hard thing to talk about, right? Oh, man, he got hit again by the 4, I think that was. And it's something that you and I kind of missed in live commentary earlier. We were kind of focused on other things. But lane changes in a super speedway have to be decision-making moves. You can't lollygag. You can't be lackadaisical. You know, none of those other words, you can't do that. And Duda sort of thought about it and then wanted to change his mind, and that hope was gone. Watch him here. Starts to move down, starts to move up, and in the wall.
You can't really, like you say, you can't really put that on 62, because sooner or later it's got to get going. And man, tough break. Zimmerman, actually, the car that got involved, what we were just talking to.
Yep. Dude, I want to make the lane change there. The worst part, from what I can tell, that camera angle is that bottom lane was open. If he would have sort of snapped down there and gotten lane, he'd have been okay, and this race would still be going green.
This is, oh, that's from pit lane. Sorry. We'll jump back, get a look from above. This will be the one.
All right, so let's watch here. The car's up front of Zane Bailey in the bottom. That's actually a different car in front and the bottom. It's Raymond. There's the first bump. Duda says, hey, I went out of line. Look at all that gap on the bottom. Look at all that space he had to get in front of that green and yellow machine.
Once again, though, phenomenal driving from the field to escape disaster.
All right, well, I'm going to continue our trend of driver interviews and see who else we can get comments from here as this race starts to come down to a close. Let's go ahead and welcome in Jim Duda in the broadcast booth. And Jim, that looked like a wild ride.
Yeah, it was a wild ride. What happened there was he was following me, and I decided to go down the inside. And I think he came down and realized he wasn't cleared. And he went back up, and he had a roll of steam and hit me in my right rear. But what do you do?
Is the car? I mean, it looked like you were crab walking the pit road, so I'm assuming the car's done.
Well, we got one fast repair, luckily, and
that's
we're
right.
good.
All right, well, now you get to work your way from the back. Hey, good news. Fuel's not a concern anymore. So
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. It makes my day.
It's just now just kind of go for it and hope.
Yeah, I was thinking everybody's got their fuel in, and I'm stuck at the back of the pack. It's probably, I don't know what's worse, in the middle or the back right now, but at least I can see something happening if it does happen. We're not done wrecking yet, so.
So earlier, Noel and I had the conversation in the booth. We always have those conversations about, what would you do to win at Daytona? Would you, the age-old question, would you wreck your grandmother to win at Daytona? I'm going to put you on the spot. If you and Jared are out here together, are you going to spin Jared to win at Daytona?
Well, I think that answered the question, man. I felt bad early in the race, lap 2 or 3, whatever. Early in the race, I got into Jared and spun him in 2.
All right, so you felt bad, but would you do it for a win?
Yes, I felt bad, but yes, I'll wreck my grandma. Now, my wife, that's a different story.
That's a different story. Well, listen, Jim, it was a pleasure talking to you. We'll put you back down to your team. Good luck.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Hi, honey.
There you go. Oh, a nice little shout out right there. That's a pro's move right there.
You bet. See you, guys.
While that was going on, Corey Bonino and Joshua Burke have both been hit with black flags. Again, not sure what for. My guess, I would think incident limit. I don't know what you'd be able to get a black flag for under yellow, though.
Yeah, that's got to be, unless you didn't merge off a pit lane correctly.
Maybe?
That's the only thing I can think of. Yeah, we'd have to look into that and see. There is an incident limit, you're right. So that could be you're right. We'll take a look and see. But
maybe, but Bonino hasn't been really in a place where that would be a thing.
No. That was a perfect answer, by the way. My grandma, yes. My wife, no. So we're going to assume she's watching. So hello, Mrs. Duda. Thanks for watching. Because if she wasn't watching, that answer would have been different.
Well, the whole family's got to get involved and watch at some point, right?
So I agree. I'm just saying you have to know your audience, right? That was
You're
the
not
key.
wrong.
That was the key form of that right there. Well, I forgot about the fast repair. So luckily, unluckily, lots of drivers already used their fast repair tonight, Nolan. So for a lot of drivers, this is it right here. Whatever happens, happens. We'll wait and see.
All right, so the iRacing pace car makes its dive into pit road. Green flag back in the air. And once again, we're going to get this show back on the road. So any questions on fuel have been cast aside. Zane Bailey trying to go up high, but Brett Malone going to drive through down to the bottom side. Aaron May picks up third. Ryan Wade fourth. Martin fifth. And Cliff Adams also making his SRA debut back in sixth. Still waiting to see what Bonino and Burke are going to do. They got 2 black flags. They got to serve within 3 laps of this race going green.
Can confirm Bodino's penalty at least is for passing under yellow. So I'm not sure when that occurred, but I have confirmed that one at least. I'm not sure about the one for Burke. But for Bodino, it's a passing under yellow. That's going to be a pretty steep stop and go penalty for him. So I'm sure he'll come down and serve it. And he's going to hope for another yellow to come out so he doesn't lose a lap. That'll be a pretty steep stop and go penalty.
And looking like Burke has come down to pit road as well as both drivers coming down to the lane. There is Burke, and well, Bonino actually staying out, it looks like, unless he already came down to. Nope, he is not. He still has the black flag on his marker.
And that's unfortunate for him, right? If the best news he could have had was that someone else had a black flag. You may not be able to catch the draft, but you could have maybe delayed the inevitable of getting lapped if, in fact, you had a drafting partner. But he's decided to stay out here, and I'm not sure why. There's no, as far as I'm aware, there's no race control here. No one's going to clear that penalty for you. So I'm not sure what the plan is there. He has one more lap to serve if he hasn't this time, and then he will have to face the ultimate penalty of being disqualified. But here we are, a new leader up front, by the way, Cliff Adams, Aaron Raymond, and Paul Witt, your top 3. Zane Bailey's in 4th. Man, Paul Witt always seems to find himself in the picture at the end of these races for the SRA, doesn't he, Nolan? Remember, had that incredible run last season? Was it like 10 races in the top 5?
Yeah, something around that margin, right? I mean, around there. It was a phenomenal season, and it was actually that phenomenal season that ended up doing him in, because that meant that the drop week that he otherwise would have been able to make great advantage of, he had the very, very unfortunate mistake or error of having to, not even really an error, he just had to drop a really good result. It screwed him in the season finale with a less than 10-point gap.
There's Burke in the bottom. By the way, he'll come down off the pit road after that long penalty. So he's been lapped by the field here. Now with that car up top.
Potential crash here for Zachary Mertz, who is off of the racetrack. And to take a look back and find out what happened to him. I mean, he was given a meatball flag. Being pushed by the 90. He's pushing Brian Zimmerman.
A couple cars we've seen involved different points of incidents tonight.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, man, another off-center bump and then the wall.
Oh.
Right there, that hurts. And it's off the racing surface. So for those, maybe your family or friend watching, you don't do iRacing, anything below that double yellow line or that white line, we call it off the racing surface. Those wrecks typically will not trigger by iRacing because it's so far off the racing surface that it should not affect anything. Now, the fact that 99 came up the track, he was all alone. So nothing there, but boy, oh boy, this is picking up the intensity, the bumps, everything is picking up here. The heart rates. Look at that big gap in the bottom lane.
Oh, no.
Yeah, 3 wide. This is not the way I want to do it, but there they are, 3 wide here at Daytona.
Brett Malone getting muscled out. Contact up into the outside wall. The 99 is going to get it back into the groove, and he's going to have to pedal that one a little bit up on the top side. Though he's able to gather it up. Aaron May. It'll take 14 to go. Boy, we're racking up the close calls quickly here, aren't we?
Oh, yeah. Everyone's going to get a little bit more riskier, a little bit more dicier now because you have to do it now. You can't sit back and relax and wait for something to come to you. Now you have to make it happen. Now you have to be in charge of your own destiny. To use that WWE Cody Rhodes moment, you need to finish the story. No one's going to finish it for you. But speaking of finishing a story, Dalton Kilrow, the man who loves super speedways, did I just see him up in 3rd place in the top lane? We've not talked about him all night long, basically. And all of a sudden, he's going to be in line. Here is Burke, by the way.
What in the world was that?
That is a slow car.
It looked like he was coming to pit road, and then all of a sudden he juked back out onto the racetrack. I'm not sure if he...
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah. Weird one. Maybe he had an issue, and he suddenly got it resolved and decided to stay out there, but we're 3 wide again.
All right, here we are 3 wide again in the middle of the pack, and look at that top lane now moving. Oh, there's the middle lane. And that's
Mark Arthur's damn. He's broke. He's broke. Look at the left front.
Yep. Hard hit into the outside wall.
Oh, man.
He gets frustrated.
And that was as a result of contact. And we'll take a look.
I don't know. You said the car is broke, but we'll wait and see if he comes down pit road. He does. Yeah, he does have to come down pit road. You're right. Look at this again here. There's Zane Bailey in the blue car on the inside. There's a car right here on his inside. This will be on the replay view in a minute now. Man, does it slide as the bumps from the 62? Wow, that 62 has been involved in almost every camera shot tonight in different ways. And there's Mark Arthur down pit road. Now back to live racing, drag racing happening. Cliff Adams, Aaron Raymond, and others. Dalton Kilrow's up to 4th. That's a name we've said. We've not talked about Paul Witt, Aaron May, Zane Bailey's back in 5th. Well, the lap numbers are going down, but the heart rates are going up.
There he is, Corey Bodinell coming off the final corner. The next driver that will find himself in line, Burke, is back into pit road. And they're going to be 2 wide. I would stay 2 until you get up and around Bodinell here. You don't want to be 3 wide and approach the line of traffic because then you run the risk of being put 4 or not even making it that far. We'll have coming up on 10 to go. The race continues to escalate in intensity.
Great job by Bodinell getting up against the wall, maybe scrubbing the wall, but staying up there. And he's going to let the field on by. So, unlike earlier tonight. Oh, there's a car down off the track. I think that's going to be okay. Yep. Well, look at that run the outside lane is getting. Look at that massive run. 2, 3 cars possibly clear on the outside. Dalton Kilrow now leading. You and I know Dalton loves super speedways. He's seen him do the Cyber 500 before. He loves this style of racing. He loves to win at these racetracks.
Yeah, kind of came up to the broadcast booth before you jumped in here tonight, Derek, and he was saying, you know, he's happy to be here and trying out a new series. He said all he'd like to really do is just finish a darn race. He said it felt like he hasn't really finished anything in the last, 2-3 weeks or so. So I think if he can make it back to the checker flag in one piece, he'll call that a W for the night.
Yeah, that'd be a good way to do it. And hey, listen, if you want to come out here and make a statement in a new league you just joined, winning the first race is a great way to sort of put a stamp on your name. And I think for any rookie in this field tonight, as a whole, as we're now getting another lap car we're going to go by here, any rookie in tonight's race for the most part has put a stamp on their name. That long 65 or 70 lap green flag run we had, that's a stamp of approval to every driver in this field, saying, hey, we all know what we're doing. Yes, maybe we had some unfortunate incidents thereafter, but everyone gained respect for one another in that long run, because we all know how difficult it is to go mistake-free for 70 laps at a track like this. Here we're now down the long straightaway on the back straight.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, look at them. This is ugly. This is 2-3 wide different times.
Yeah, looks like the real Arca race is here now.
Yeah. Looks like the Miata race is here now.
Yeah,
I know they race the road course, but those guys go for it. Like, those are my favorite races at IMSA weekend, are the Miata races. Those are great. By the way, funny story, Zane Bailey back there in that blue car. I wonder for the longest time why he has just a plain blue car. Zane Bailey, I think, is like the only person in racing who does not run the add-on, the third-party add-on.
Oh, no!
Oh,
That's going to be the big one.
that's, my goodness.
Jeez, that came out of nowhere.
And that car went up, like a dart to the top of the track.
What the heck happened there?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Wait and see. Dalton Killer's going to lead us around to the pace car.
Oh,
It's gonna
boy.
be just behind the back of the screen there. We'll back the replay up a little bit further and get it moving here.
Yeah.
The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars were cleared the front.
Bruce
There's gonna be
Dudley.
the cars in the back.
So Bruce Dudley was one of the ones that kind of started this off first in the middle of the racetrack.
So there's Bailey going to the bottom. We were just about to talk about Bailey. We'll keep moving a little bit here. Replay moving. Wait for the wreck to occur. Right here, it's going to be just a second from now. Is it going to be a bad bump?
Had to have been.
Right there, look up top. Nope,
Oh,
it's not going to be up top. Where's it going to come from?
Right there, the 10.
Yeah. There it is.
Can't push on the right rear. How many times have we said that, right?
Well, and unfortunately, it's not just the push in the right rear. It's also then when you're trying to get checked up. I think he gave him a second bump in the checkup on the back of the 48. That sent the 48 around, and look at this, all kinds of cars. And that's Aaron Raymond up in there in the green and yellow machine.
Golly.
Many more. Well, lots of drivers right now trying to get each other to be their own spotters. Hey, what damage do I have? How bad does the car look? You figured out, but watch here, it's 48 getting bumped. And into the wall. And there's Raymond getting a bump on Zane Bailey. Zane Bailey might have just got away with this. Well, boy.
That is huge. You gotta look from the air.
I'm watching the bottom lane of the track here. It's going to be the 48 kind of back in. The 48 checks up a little bit for the car in front of him, I think. And the 10 just had no idea. The 10 didn't know that checkup was coming, bumped him in the back, and then all hell breaks loose.
Once again, I have to go on board with Brian Zimmerman. Take a look at this coming down in towards turn number 1 here. Oh, sorry, this is after the caution already came out. And even further? A little further. Here we go.
So the wreck's going to happen right here on the bottom. Just in a minute right there, see? Everyone starts to move to the left. Gets it checked up. See the RPMs dropping.
How about
Oh,
that?
boy.
That's got to be avoided for the month right there. We're pretty darn close to it.
Yeah, no, it has a great avoidance. That was not a no lift avoidance. He was off the throttle. You can see the RPMs were dropping. You can hear it in the engine sounds. Maybe a little bit of luck. And got right on through there in the moment. Well, for the first time tonight, let's talk to a familiar face on Green Flag TV. Dalton Kilroe. You're going to come around here with about, what, 5 or 4 laps to go on the restart. You are leading. Now, I know you love this style of racing. What's going through your head right now?
Yeah, I'm just kind of hoping that everybody can keep it together for the 4 laps we're going to have here once we do get the green, and just not do anything to end my race early. I mean, I've got my fast repair, so even if I get turned, as long as we got a green light checker, it'll still be okay. But hopefully it doesn't come to that, and we can get back around to the checker flag without having any issues.
So let's have a conversation Nolan won't understand. What would be more disappointing? Not winning this race or the finish of WrestleMania Sunday?
Oh, God. I would say...
Because that sucked. Let's just be honest about it.
I would say WrestleMania Sunday's finish
Fair
was
enough.
a little more disappointing, but I think that one was intentional. There was a whole thing about that. So I think they did that on purpose. So I think we'll let WWE cook with that. Because they've been cooking. We just got to see what the long-term story is going to be. In terms of this race, a lot of these guys are aggressive. They'll make crazy moves, and I'm just trying to, you know, I'll put myself in the best position I can be in. I don't think the lead is that position, but we'll have to see just kind of how things play out.
Here, I'll make one more reference and we'll let you go. Are these drivers more or less aggressive than Gunther choking out the announcers on Monday?
More aggressive.
Fair enough.
Because that was fairly aggressive, but that was also brewing for a while.
I feel like I've
some of
missed
these guys have had enough time to let things brew.
We'll convert Nolan to being a wrestling fan and he'll understand it someday.
I'm in Canada. I don't get Peacock.
Fair enough.
If anything, you should know Bret Hart. Come on, man.
you're Canadian.
I would watch it if I could. I literally can't. I'm region blocked.
All right. Well, Dalton, we're going to put you back down and let you finish this race. Good luck, and maybe we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, that's the hope. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That is Dalton Kilroe. Another, I mean, he and I had, along with some other friends, had a big WrestleMania group chat going last Sunday and Saturday, so lots of conversations there. Oh, yeah. By the way, it's on Netflix. You can get Netflix in Canada. You could be watching wrestling on Netflix. Or
Wait,
something like that.
WWE's on Netflix?
Oh, yeah. Since January.
Oh, heck yeah. All right, I'm in. I'll catch
Fair
up.
enough. Well, speaking of in, there's the pace car.
4 laps the distance. Overtime chances extremely high if the last several restarts have anything to go by. Green flag is up in the air.
Everything inside is Dalton Kilroe, the driver we just spoke with. He's going to get a run from the outside by Gavin Austin. And isn't it amazing somehow? Gavin Austin has been involved, it feels like, in so many moments of this race. And yet there he is in contention. 4 laps to go, trying to win this race.
Panama, Cliff Adams, Cody Witt, Joshua Berg, all with meatball flags to serve. They're just getting those clear now. Some of them would still have actual black flags served. You see them at the tail of the field. 3 wide, multiple rows deep, while they're 2 wide at the front. Do we survive through turn numbers 3 and 4 to get a lap in the books? That's the big question as they come off of 4, looking for 3.
Kilroe, I think, so far is going to lead this lap this time by do a pretty good job. It's a 3 wide with a blinking truck, or a car, pardon me, on the outside. And they survived that. They're doing good here.
3 laps to go. Another yellow flag puts this race in overtime. 2 cars into the fence in turn 1. We're able to keep it straight. And now, oh, there goes Van Leer, turning Gavin Austin. Both cars involved slide into the inside,
caution.
hard
No
into
caution.
the wall for the 2. How is there no caution?
We're off the racing surface. No caution. There it is.
I think that might have been admin thrown, and frankly,
Yeah, and I
fair
have some
call.
questions about that. I would respectfully disagree. Actually, I don't disagree with the fact it's a caution. but you and I have had private conversations about admin cautions before. It's all or nothing. There's been other wrecks tonight that should have had the same fate. So we'll go through that later. But all right, well, green white checker is now where we are. So we saw Gavin Austin involved. I think he got spun. We'll wait for the replays to load up and see what exactly happened here. Look on the outside. Those cars are trying to bump draft. And oh, you know what we're doing?
Oh,
I think
boy.
We're pushing the pusher, Nolan.
Yeah, that kind of had all the hallmarks of it, doesn't it? And then Van Leer down and hard into the inside wall.
And there's Aaron Raymond. Yeah, maybe avoided the wall. If he did, a light tap, all things considered, but he was involved in a wreck. Saw Gavin Austin involved in a wreck. And you cannot push the pusher. Watch the two here. Going to get up in the back end. Maybe not. You know what? I said that at first. It looked like maybe Austin tapped the wall and got a little slow. Yeah, that's his sketch. But listen, it's sketch, but it's necessary sketch. We're 3 to go. We're almost 2 to go at Daytona. You have to make something work. Watch from the back end here.
That was with Gavin Austin, and this is going to be on board with Van Leer.
This will be the good one to see who does push the pusher here.
Sure does.
Oh, yeah, not as bad as I thought. I think, unfortunately, it wasn't totally his choice. Gavin Austin sort of got up on the wall and got a little slow, and then he was sort of forced into pushing the pusher there. But, well. So a lot of drivers, Gavin Austin, I'm sure that's got to be the end of his race. I'm sure he's already used his fast repair. I would think Aaron Raymond's already used his fast repair. So drivers are coming down to this pretty quickly here.
So we're into overtime now. Austin, Aaron Raymond, Cliff Adams, Laban Van Leer, all with meatball or black flags to serve.
Well, listen, I don't want to put pressure on these drivers, Nolan. But Wednesday night, and the Premier Sim Racing Sim Gaming Expo Truck Series, I think the official decision was 4 thousandths of a second was the finish we had at Dover. Thursday night, you had an incredible run on the Speed Cup Series. What was your official timing for that victory? Do you know?
5 thou.
5 thousandths of a second. That was, I think, the last two Broadwell. No, you guys did Classic IndyCar today, right? Or no?
That is tomorrow, first of the...
That's tomorrow. Don't say it's only Saturday. Holy crap, dude. Say it's only Saturday. So the last two broadcasts on Green Flag TV have been thousandths of a second at the finish line. So no pressure, SRA. But we're saying.
Right.
We're just saying.
No pressure at all.
You know, the funny thing, I'll share this
story.
story.
And keep in mind, last week's Tuesday race, 2 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I had kind of jokingly said, and you know, Nolan knows about this when I said it's not self-serving, but I kind of joked that when Mark Kalin lost to Steve Loving on Wednesday night by 4 thousandths of a second, I kind of said, hey guys, listen, maybe that should go submit it for the Irish Team Top 10. And the Speed Cup Series went and one-upped me on Thursday. I was like, well, never mind on that.
I feel like at this point we just gotta like send in like all the photo finishes of the last month and just like, you know what, take your pick. Any one of them.
Maybe we just get like a Green Flag TV top 10 on Irish and top 10 next week. Well, no pressure. Dalton Kilroe, whoever else is up here, Jim Duda, Paul Witt, Xavier Dawkins, Batiste, or anyone else. But I want to see another close finish.
Well, overtime at Daytona, you're liable to get one. As well as, you know, getting all of a sudden, you know, we're talking maybe 6 cars that a second, everybody else, you know, 10 or more back.
Right. Yeah, who knows what may happen here. Obviously, we've seen as these lap counts have gone down, the aggression's gotten higher, the stress has gotten higher, and the patience is way less here at Daytona. Well, now if I'm a driver, honestly, the problem here with the green light checker is you can't be patient. You can't wait. You can't not push someone because what if, right? If I lay back and we do get to the white flag, I've probably thrown this race away by being comfortable and safe, right? But of course, the moment I get aggressive, the moment I start pushing, the moment I start bumping, the moment I start lane changing and going 3 wide, it could be me I could be the problem.
Well, it could still go either way. We are into overtime now, so fuel becoming a question. You can see Jared Duda running on the apron, just trying to save that little bit more. Jared Duda might not be safe, and if this goes for another one, you have to wonder who is. But I think the big thing to note is we have 2 attempts this afternoon.
That's almost hard to believe because with how many cautions we've had, I would think everyone would be good, but we'll find out here in the next 2 laps.
iRacing pace car is off. Green flag is in the air. It's overtime and 2 to go at Daytona. Coming back into turns 1 and 2. Dalton Kilroy with the lead. Jim Coleman's-Berger up top. Xavier Dawkins-Batiste and Jared Duda make that Jim Duda the 2 pushers. Back straight away. What could be the second to last time. 1 car looking up the middle for 3. That could work. It might not. And I don't think it has. It is not. We got big problems in the back straight away. And that should see us go to the final attempt.
There's Mark Arthur. That car gonna have a hard time. There's the 48 again involved in some fashion. I don't know what level. You see there, Jim Duda is likely involved because this is the black flag for him. Noah Swafford, Van Leer likely involved again.
Tough break.
And in fact, I just saw a DQ go by a second ago. I thought, I'm not sure who that was. I saw it go down the ticker board, but we'll keep an eye on that. Brian Zimmerman, incident points, done for the day.
Ouch. Now we'll jump back and again try to get an eye on who ended up where.
So watch here towards the middle of your screen. We'll wait to see where the wreck's going to start to form. No indication yet, but you see how much is moving around. See the big shot from the top of the stand, or what used to be the top of the stands on the back straight here. And
ooh.
There's the 3 wide. And, right there it is. That black car, the 429, got, not sure if he got spun around or if he tried to make a lane change back up top. That'll be the question.
Paul Witt's streak comes to a shattering end. Unfortunate for him.
It's getting Zane Bailey behind him, by the way. And actually, watch ahead. Look at that car in front of them right there.
Jim Duda. I think Duda getting out of line like that. Whoa! Holy cow! One up and over!
Crap.
What was that?
Oh, and then a hit from the 24 there after. Make sure he stayed on the ground. I don't know.
That was
Wow.
that was the rookie Pat Green. Pat Green with a massive ride.
I'll need his brown pants after that. I'll tell you what, that was scary.
This car absolutely launched into the air.
Watch this here. It's going to come around. Has no idea it's coming. Right about now.
Right off the side of Bruce Dudley into the air. Slams on his roof. Digs in with the nose. And that kicks the Exalta Chevrolet slamming back down onto all fours.
So that's unfortunate. Let's go back to the main wreck for a second. I think I have a different perspective maybe of what happens if we can re-rack the main wreck one more time. I believe the 429 is going to give a bump to Duda, and it's going to wiggle Duda around. We'll come see that in a moment.
Oh, boy.
Comes to a stop from the 24 thereafter. Yeah, so right before this, you'll see that the 429 would have given Duda a bump. Let's back it up right here. It's going to be a bump coming right here. It's going to move Duda out of lane. Oh, the 429 is pushing the pusher. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Duda wiggles, and then all hell breaks loose there on back.
And then watch the 90 car right about there slams airborne, and goes for an absolutely monstrous flip into the infield. Somehow that car, I'm surprised that car didn't dig over and start barrel rolling.
Yeah, luckily for him that didn't. And I don't care what view you're in, single monitor, triple monitor, VR, big TV, whatever you have, that sucks when it happens to you because it's just no perspective. It's just, it happens fast in sim, right? It looks like it takes forever in replay. But in sim, your screen's just kind of twirling around and you're trying to figure it out pretty quick.
Well,
all right, well, here we go. Let's rack it again. See if we can get a better result this time. Hey, again, we're 3 to go.
And this will be our final attempt of the afternoon. And it is Zimmerman that got the DQ. Now, only one thing I can think of for the DQ, and that would be hitting the 25 incident point limit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You get the way they've changed it up. It used to be you get 1 penalty point for every 7 gained. And it's going to... And the way it now works for the field is you get one... You get a drive-through for 14 incidents, I believe. And then you have the...
drive-through for 20 at 24 and a DQ at 25.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. I noticed earlier it was kind of odd to me. It's 14 in every 10, so 14, 24, and DQ at 25. All right, well, here we are. So now it's Dalton Kilrow on the inside, Xavier Dawkins Batiste on the outside, and then Jared Dudas is going to be there trying to push to the outside with the 11 on the inside. So let's see how this goes.
One more.
But if you're Dalton Kilrow, you've got to be stoked about all these yellows because you're still up front.
And if he gets another one, then he wins because the race will end under the caution flag.
Yep.
So the iRacing pace car making the jump down in the pit road. Green flag out in the air for the final time tonight. It's either caution or checkers. Green flag's in the air, and it's a good launch from Batiste up top.
Yeah, very temporarily a good job from the outside lane, but look how much more compact that bottom lane is. Probably likely that lane's going to get moving really quickly. Here they come. Dalton Kilrow back to the front. Great pushes from the 11.
Oh, look out! Kilrow onto the apron. He's able to gather it up. 3 wide, crashing back straight away. The 90 car that was just on his leg, cautions out, races over. Kilrow is not going to get the win, but Xavier Dawkins Batiste will pick up his first ever SRA win.
Wow, if you're Xavier Dawkins Batiste, you've got to be stoked just like that. And if you're Dalton Kilrow, heartbroken.
Tanner Marr has been disqualified for the incident limit. Zane Bailey's been black flagged. Ay. What a ride, though, for Batiste, who's going to be able to take home the W on that one. Doesn't get much sweeter than that, does it? I mean, that is a wild ride that we just saw, and we'll look to get a look back. This is the wreck that ends the race. They all stacked up as a result of Kilrow getting turned onto the apron. Gap closed as the 69 tried to go up the middle. Didn't quite work out. The 90 got spun. And that was all she wrote. So, Xavier Dawkins Batiste will work his way into the final corner. And the driver of the Wood Brothers lookalike, number 21 Motorcraft Ford Mustang, going to come off of the final corner. Not sure if this was the way he wanted to win the race, and with all the black flags, of course, results are very, very unofficial. But it will be the driver of the number 21 that takes home his first ever SRA win for the inaugural round of the NasClassic Arca Blitz. Legendary stuff there from Batiste will look once again, try to get a jump back on what happened to the driver of the number 90 and show you once more what happened to Pat Green. He had just found himself upside down. Dalton Kilroe got hooked onto the apron in the middle of turn 2. And then coming off the corner, just drifted down across Tanamar into Zane Bailey, spun the 90 around. And that was the caution that ends the race. So it ends in extremely, I guess you could kind of call it anticlimactic fashion. Batiste getting his dues there, making sure that drivers are congratulating him as the iRacing pace car will lead us back around to the back straightaway. A wild exit to this one. And we'll look to take a rundown of your official post-race results this afternoon, as it is going to be none other than Xavier Dawkins-Batiste taking home the race win this afternoon. Jared Dudon comes home in the number 2 spot, 6/10 off the mark. Aaron May back in 3rd for Team SRA. Colmansberger finishes in 4th with Kilroe back in 5th. Thomas Lane Jr. in 6th with Jeff Gilmore in 7th. Brett Malone finishing 8th. Aaron Raymond in 9th, and Wesley Strayed rebounds back from being laps down to finishing in the top 10. Moving on down to 11th, it's Corey Bodeno. Jim Duda in 12th, Ryan Wayne back in 13th. Zane Bailey 14th, Bruce Dudley in 15th, and it's Swafford Green for the first cars, both on the lead lap, but the first cars 1 lap down. Tanamar, Paul Witt, and Mark Arthur will be out of the top 20. And then from there, Cody Witt, Brian Zimmerman, Larry Bell, Joshua Burke, Gavin Austin, Cliff Adams, Laban Van Leer, Zachary Mertz, Anthony Williams will finish down to 29th with John Holiday failing to start this race.
We move back into P31, and we'll see the rest of the field here. These are all big cars. Of course, laps down 30. That's not 31. There's only 30 cars. I lost track of the number of cars. Never mind.
Happens to the best of us, you know?
I got excited there. All right, well, boy, oh boy, what a finish. What a heartbreak for a lot of people. What a heartbreak for Dalton Kilroe. Came in 5th. I know you showed that on the screen.
Yeah.
But I think it's time to talk to some winners.
I could not agree more. Let's take a rundown and give a chit-chat here to the driver of the number 21 machine, who comes home in a very solid drive this afternoon, as we will look to... We'll try to track down where your race winner is, and how about that? I don't think he's going to be able to comment. That's a first, not being able to talk to our race winner. So instead, we'll bring up Jared Duda, and Derek will give you the chance to catch up with 2nd place while we see if Xavier Dawkins-Batiste will be able to join us.
Well, Jared, you came home at P2, and wow, what a crazy ending. We went 70 laps green, and then pure chaos at the end.
Yeah, it was a hectic race. I mean, my green flag run was a little more hectic than even the last 20 for me. So last 20, I was just kind of hanging back, letting things work its way out, and all of a sudden I was up front and took what I could.
So we had to talk with your dad into one of the cautions, and he said he felt bad because you guys got together, I think, lap 2 or 3, and you got spun around and was able to recover. He said he felt bad. Does that make, like, dinner awkward later when you're like, hey, Dad, remember lap 2? Like, you know?
No, it happens. I mean, I didn't get wrecked or anything by it, and I was able to catch the other pack. So a little bit was a little miscommunication on my part too, as well. So it happens, and it is what it is.
Now, I don't know if you had the broadcast on in the background or not. We were talking to your dad, and I asked him the age-old question. You know, those old questions like, would you wreck grandma to win at Daytona? Would you wreck, your mother? Would you wreck blah, 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 blah? Your dad says he would spin you for a win at Daytona. Would you spin your dad for a win at Daytona?
No, I'd shove him through for a win. So
wow, that deserves like a whatever it's next, Christmas, birthday, whatever. That's how you get good presents like that. Well, what an incredible run tonight. Talk me through. Come back to a serious question here. When the first caution comes out, it really sort of tore apart the fuel strategy. What were you thinking after the first caution?
Yeah, I mean, based on obviously chatting with my teammates, and they were all up in that first group, and after I got really hit by my dad coming out of 4 there. I dropped back to the second pack, and I was just sitting in the back of that pack saving and hoping there was a couple more guys in there too. So I was good on fuel, and hearing what they were saying, they were really going to be pushing it. So I wasn't really too worried about the fuel strategy. Honestly, it just kind of, I was just able to kind of confirm that everyone had one more stop, and if we went green, I could have possibly made it on one more, whereas that lead pack might have been 2. So it was kind of up in the air, roll the dice. It's added a little more certainty to my race as well. So.
All right. Well, the last question I have, this, of course, a great start for you for the new season here for NasClassic, part of SRA. The rest of the season, we got a dirt track, we got a road course, we got 1.5 miles, we got short tracks. Is there a track in the schedule you're not looking forward to?
I don't like road course. Dirt track is whatever. I just don't like the road course. I don't know. I'm not good at them, and I don't really care for them as well. So I don't run them enough to be that good at them. But I can love my ovals. I wish we ran a little more short tracks, like 1/2 mile to 1 mile tracks instead of the 2 mile and 1.5 milers. But it is what it is, and we'll do what we can do to run consistent all season.
All right. Well, great job tonight. It was fun watching your race, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for you guys putting on the broadcast. I'm excited to go back and watch it again. And Thomas and Paul for putting on a good league. I like racing this league every Saturday night. And then teammates for the help all this week, too. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jared. All right. That is Jared Duda. He finished P2. But I believe now, Nolan, you have caught up with our race winner, Xavier Dawkins-Batiste.
Indeed.
What's going on, man?
You tell me. You're the one that just took your maiden win this afternoon.
I sure did. I want to give a big shout out to the fellas burning it down me on the front stretch. Those are my guys. They helped me do everything on iRacing. I got on this game 6 months ago. Now I'm at 2K. Now I'm winning private leagues. I'm really happy to be here. I pulled a massive block. I want to say sorry to the 53. I did chop him on the back stretch, but I saw them wrecking, and I wanted it more than him. So.
Kind of talk us through the race. You ran a few starts before, obviously, in the IL Truck Series. Never found yourself quite in the race-winning position there. So talk to us about how you get that kind of Wood Brothers lookalike car up into victory lane this afternoon.
I really love the way these cars draft. I love the way they drive. So I've been really working on my craft, getting in the lab with these cars, doing the officials, doing the hosteds with the Arca car. And I guess today was just my day. You know, I had help from my friends, helped me with the pit strategy, helped me draft up to the pack. I was 2 down at one point in this race, you know, so I'm happy. I'm glad we drove it back.
And, of course, taking the first win of the season, always critical in order to start your season off strong. Do you reckon with this first win, title bid might be on the cards for you?
I wouldn't say that because we got to go to a lot of short tracks. We got to go to some intermediates that take a little bit of skill. And I'm not quite there yet, but Michigan and Auto Club, those are places I like. I like the big tracks. I like the fast tracks, so I'll be there for sure.
Well, what's the next track on the schedule that you really got circled?
Auto Club, home track for me, and they're knocking it down, so it would mean a lot to win there.
Well, there you go. I mean, Auto Club's a fan favorite for very good reason. I'm looking forward to that race as well. We'll see you next week then when we jump out west to California.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Let's go, man.
Huge run for Xavier Dawkins-Batiste this afternoon. And Derek, you will have third place runner, Aaron May.
Aaron, boy, oh boy, what a race this was, right? It went green for a while, then all the yellow started flying, and calamity ensued, but somehow you came home P3. What was your view of that last wreck?
Honestly, I did not see the wreck. I was just looking forward and trying to make sure I could make it on fuel.
How close were you?
I was like 0.3 coming back to the checkered.
Wow, that was close indeed. I guess, yeah, that would be a concern, making sure you came back there. Well, had a great run tonight. You qualified pretty well. Qualified in, not well, actually, qualified in 15th mid-pack. When you qualify mid-pack like that, what goes through your mind?
I think what goes through my mind is just stay positive and try to make sure you don't get in trouble early. Because if you stay like negative and something like that, then you're going to get caught up in a wreck. So you got to look at the positives, and if you can just stay positive with yourself, you can move forward and don't get angry with yourself.
Fair enough. Well, upcoming the schedule next week is Auto Club. Now, as we talk about our interviews next, we're going to, in the future, we're going to go short track racing, dirt racing, 1.5 miles, another super speed at Talladega. Which track are you looking forward to? Which track are you really not looking forward to?
I am not looking forward to the dirt race and the road courses. I am looking forward to Phoenix, Talladega, and Charlotte.
There you go. Well, listen, so it sounds like you got a few dates ready for you there. We'll be happy to see you race the rest of the season here in the NasClassic here on Green Flag TV. Congrats on a 3rd place finish, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, guys.
All right, that is Aaron May. He's going to finish in P3 tonight, Nolan.
And all of that will take us to the close of racing action here this afternoon. Boy, oh boy. I mean, what a race, right? I mean, I think that just it says a lot when you can have such a good season opener like this. Didn't end the way we wanted it to, but I think we can't let that get us down with how great of a run this was for everybody else at the championship, right? I mean, that was, by all intents and purposes, a phenomenal race.
You know, maybe not the finish we wanted, but it's the finish that we expect, right? It's Daytona. That's what we expect. That's kind of why people watch those last-minute, crazy, chaotic moves to see who can make their way to the front. Unfortunately for Dalton Kilroy, P4 or P5 tonight, not where he wanted to be, but, you know, I think when you race Daytona, we have to expect finishes like that, and I think we got what we paid for out of this race tonight.
Well, coming on up on Green Flag TV, it's a triple header coming on up on Sunday. The Classic IndyCar Series takes off to Interlagos for round number 3. Derek Watson will be in the booth with Justin Prince for round 9 of the Blitz and Arca Series out from Richmond. With SRA swinging jumping across the Pacific over to Mobility Resort Motegi. From there, the High Tide Racing League Dark Premier Series goes out to Bristol with the OMSRL Cup Series out at Iowa. Beer League will be over in Tuscany. It's a race at the Mugello Circuit in Italy, with the Speed Cup Series taken to Texas Motor Speedway for the last race of the regular series season on Thursday nights. That will then lead us all the way back around to Saturdays, where next weekend we'll be racing for the Auto Club 200. 100 laps getting set to rumble out for the first race on Saturdays in May at the now defunct Auto Club Speedway. If you want to find out more about who we are and what we can offer you, you can check us out today at www.greenflyingtv.com. An absolutely stellar race throughout the entirety of tonight, and it is only going to continue to get more and more thrilling from here. Thank you all so much for joining us for more beautiful racing action on Saturday night. My name's been Nolan Rempel alongside Derek Watson. We'll see you all next week when we go racing for the SRA NasClassic Arca Blitz.